Hello, this is the first episode of Balancing with Brittany. I had already recorded this more than once, but I'm being a little hard on myself, I think. So however this comes out is just how it's going to go. You're going to hear my daughter in the background because she is with me, so she's got to stay occupied, and she has her Christmas presents and everything. And yes, I'm doing this on December 26th at 6:14 p.m. when I'm about to post it, because I didn't like the one that I already had, so I'm redoing it. And I should probably just say fuck it and post it anyways, but I just feel like it's not what I want to put out, so here we go. We're going to try this again. As you already probably saw from the title, this episode is going to be about starting slow in self-care. And I think that's a perfect way to start this podcast, because with the new year coming up so quickly, literally like this Friday, crazy, insane, it's going to be 2022. I'm so excited for this year. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm so excited because I have so many things that I have planned and goals and dreams and, just things I want to do and accomplish this year that I have never had before. I'm just dreaming big. I'm going for it, and I'm just doing the damn thing. I'm not making excuses. I'm doing it, and I feel like I've set a really good foundation this year, starting slow in my self-care. Exactly what this is about. I feel like I've learned a lot this year about how to do that and what approach to take, and so I just kind of want to share that with you guys today. And perfect example, yes, this is very last minute, but I promised that I would get this out on Sunday, every Sunday. And I'm sure there's going to be a Sunday in between where life just happens to where I'm going to have to postpone it or put it off or whatever. But I don't have a good enough excuse for that to happen this week. And especially being the first episode, we ain't starting off that way. So enough about me, enough about my dreams and my goals and things. And again, I'm going to apologize for the noise in the background. I know most of you probably don't mind because most of you are probably already moms, or you're going to be a mom, and you understand. But I still feel like I need to apologize. This is supposed to be like a professional podcast. And yes, it is to an extent, but we're just mamas doing our best, I am so excited to have you here, to have you listening. Seriously, I really appreciate you. I just want to start off on that. I really appreciate you. No. And I had to leave that last part in. There we go again. She always starts to play with the loudest toys when I start recording. Story of my life. We're 3 minutes in and I haven't even gotten to the point yet. If that isn't mama, style podcast, I don't know what the hell is, because literally distraction after distraction. We're just going to start and get right into it because I'm not going to keep rambling. So I've tried other styles on how to record this episode, but I find myself just kind of going on and on about kind of the same things. And I want to break it down a little bit more for you, especially if you're a brand new beginner. You're realizing after you've had your baby, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever number child you're on, you are ready to start working on yourself again. Or maybe you've never worked on yourself and this is your first time. Either way, this is for you. First, I want you to take a deep breath, because it seems like a lot. You see these Pinterest moms, you see the things on TikTok of these women that most of them don't have children, that are posting these self-care routines and things that are aesthetically pleasing and stuff. And, it's all pretty and frilly and cute. And that is goals. Trust me, I'm there. But I don't want you to compare yourself to that first, because they don't have the life you have, and no one has the life you have. You can try to follow any routine that you possibly want, but nothing is going to work unless you make it work for you. And you have to just kind of play around with it. And I hate to say it, but you do. I have been working on my routine for the last 2.5 years, and I swear it's always changing and evolving, because as our kids grow, they need different things, and it's not as hectic maybe as I don't know, different stages, and every kid is different, but you have to kind of reevaluate that every like 3 to 6 months because of those stages. So a lot of people start with resolutions and things that they want to start. It's usually more than one. It's usually like a million things that they've never done before, that they've never even attempted. And they're thinking that they're going to be able to do all of these things starting fresh on January 1st, and nothing is going to go wrong. And let me tell you, every time I've set a resolution, I know like most others, it has never worked out. So I want you to whatever works for you, but like I want you to get that out of your brain. I want you to get the whole, I have to change my whole life within 24 hours out of your head, because it's not going to happen. First of all, you're not going to be able to figure out a whole new routine, add all of these other million things that you want to do every single day to your list, and get all of those things accomplished successfully without feeling so drained and overwhelmed by like day 4. So start with one simple thing at a time. If you haven't read it already, I highly suggest reading Atomic Habit by James Clear. I read it at the beginning of 2021, and it seriously changed my life. And the reason I mention that is because, like I said, it seriously changed my life. And second of all, it broke down things for me that in my brain I didn't realize I needed broke down. So, for example, instead of feeling like you need to change your whole life in that 24 hours or less than 24 hours just because it's a new calendar year, think about it as like starting today, the day you're listening to this podcast. If it's even before January 1st, just do that and get 1% better. If you're getting 1% better every single day and you're listening to this podcast on December 26th, you're already 5% ahead of your goals, if you think about it. Or that one goal, right? But basically, it talks a lot about, setting one habit at a time, staying consistent with that. And once you feel like that's like a second nature to you, then go ahead and add that second one. And then you'll get to your third and your fourth and your fifth, or whatever that looks like for you. And from there, you look back after this full year just by adding one little thing at a time, looking back, and your whole life has changed drastically because you started slow. And you didn't overwhelm yourself and expect so much out of yourself, and then getting bummed and depressed and irritated with yourself and so just upset with yourself. I know I do. I'm really hard on myself. But getting so upset with yourself because you couldn't stick to those goals, which in all reality, with our normal day-to-day life, especially having children, was near impossible to begin with. So don't be hard on yourself. Start slow, and then you change your whole life. For me, I usually create a vision board, and I have it as my wallpaper on all of my devices, like my laptop, phone, iPad, all the things. That way I see it all the time. I'm constantly seeing those, and they're lifting me up. They're not pulling me down. They're usually aesthetically pleasing just because that's just how my brain works. Sorry for the squeaky chair. But that's just how my brain works. I think it works better as like seeing things that are kind of like pretty and frilly, and I like clean office spaces and things like that. And I feel like a lot of people are like that. It kind of like unclutters your brain if you have like a clean house or a clean space to work on. Now I want to share just a few little things that I've noticed as a mom that's running 2 businesses. One I kind of have on pause for right now because I'm working on this podcast, and I'm trying to find a new way to incorporate myself into the business. Anyways, that's a whole other thing. But I just want to share a few tips that has honestly helped me so much, like saved my life, even when I was working. And now that I'm a stay-at-home mom, it's a little bit easier, but it's also not because you have the babies and you have like everything, you have time, but you also don't have time because you're around your kids all the time. So it's like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. But yes, the things that have really, really helped me was, one, getting up so much earlier than my daughter, like 2 to 3 hours earlier. That was when I could sit at my desk, I could work on my business, and I could just like focus, and I didn't have to worry about a toddler crawling all over me and crawling on my desk and needing mama, mama, mama. Like, I love her, but that was really tough for me because my brain doesn't work like that. I have to focus on something and then execute. I will forget if I don't try to leave myself notes, and sometimes that's not possible. Like, you have to deal with the baby or the child right then. And so it's really hard to be able to do that. So that was my first tip, was getting up earlier. I was getting up at 5 a.m. She'd wake up at anywhere between 7 and 8 a.m. And so that gave me 2 to 3 hours to be able to do that. I've been struggling a little bit with the 5 a.m. thing, but I'm hoping to make that more of a consistent. I've already set my foundation this year, so making it more consistent for 2022 and this upcoming week. I'm not saying get up at 5 a.m. every day. I'm not saying start with that, especially if you're used to getting up at 8, 9, or even later during the day. I'm just saying start slow. So maybe you just start getting up 30 minutes earlier than you're used to. Sticking and no excuses, getting up as soon as that alarm hits, and you get out of bed and you do the damn thing. You make a commitment to yourself. That's your first objective for the new year. I'm getting up 30 minutes earlier than I have, prior. And that's why I say start slow, because 30 minutes can turn into an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and whatever your end result is. Maybe it's 5 a.m., maybe it's just 6 a.m., maybe it's even earlier in 4 or 3 a.m., whatever your goal is. It's starting slow in that and not just saying, okay, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. every single day. When you're used to getting up later, you're setting yourself up for failure, let me tell you. And number 2 is anything that has to do with self-development, something to improve it. Like reading. If you don't like reading, maybe it's audiobooks, maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's just a documentary or a video that you love, something that you find enjoyable, but that's also a little bit educational, or something that's just going to help you improve your overall mental health. Maybe it's your mindset, things like that. And in starting slow in something like this would be, maybe you start off with 3 or 5 pages a day. It doesn't have to be 10. I know a lot of people would recommend 10 pages a day. But if you're not used to reading and maybe you hate it, but you want to love it, or whatever the case is for you, maybe start with 3 pages. Maybe it's just 1 page. Honestly, the best thing is just to start something. 1 page is better than no pages. Number 3, as a mom, I tried to set a schedule. I tried to set a strict schedule from 5 to 7. I was working on my business from 7 to 10. We were going to eat breakfast and then play. From 10 to 12, we were going to try to, go outside and play if it was nice outside. And then from 12 to 2, we were going to try to take a nap, and so on and so on, right? I tried to have that schedule, and that did not work. Let me tell you, I feel like for most moms, it's not going to work. It may work for you. That's amazing. That's awesome, because it did not work for me, because that was a mess. But setting some sort of schedule is definitely going to help you, or even just writing a list of things that you want to accomplish today and sticking to those. Don't overwhelm yourself. I did that for many, many, many months, and I always felt defeated, I didn't get enough done that day. Every single day I felt like that. And that is not a way to live, first of all. You're keeping humans alive. That's enough on its own. But as moms, I know we want more. Most of us want the career. Most of us want, and not everyone, and that's totally fine. Again, this place is no judgment. But obviously you want a little bit of something more if you're here, because self-care is something more, even if it's just focusing on yourself. So if you already have your goals written down, what I want you to do is evaluate those. Go over them, look at them, and think, okay, am I going to be able to do this and start this tomorrow and do all of these things? Because if you're not, and you feel oh my gosh, that's too much, I want you to dial it back. Because if you're telling yourself you want to work out 30 minutes a day, every single day for the entire year, but you haven't worked out in 4 or 5 years at all, then that's not something you need to be doing. You need to maybe take it back to 10 minutes 3 times a week. Or if you want to work out every day and build that, and that consistency, maybe do 5 minutes every single day. But don't try to commit to that full 30 minutes, because I can almost guarantee you some people are super committed and they just do the damn thing, and I love that. But for most of us, myself included, I don't work like that. I have to start slow and then build my way up, because if not, again, I just get super overwhelmed, and then I end up just giving up. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh well, screw it. I can't. And I don't want that to happen to you. I've done that for years. And it wasn't until after I had a baby that I really started focusing on my goals and realizing, Brittany, giving up is not going to work. Get your fucking shit together and do it, because starting slow is better than nothing. And I felt like I had to just like go all in or nothing. And sometimes that works for people, but if you're anything like me, it did not. Thank you so much. Seriously, I really appreciate you listening through the full podcast. And I know sometimes I can get a little off track and it doesn't really make sense, but we usually tend to circle back around. I just appreciate you so much, Mama. And I just want you to know that I am always here for you. I know I'm building a community of other moms that will be here for you. And I just want to say you're doing your best. Like, even if your best doesn't seem good enough, it's amazing. Like, you are doing everything you can in that moment. And I just want to say that I love you for it. And I just want you to keep going. You're doing amazing. And I hope you know that. And don't forget, there's a new episode every single Sunday. I don't really have a set time schedule yet, but every Sunday there will be one up. But if you want to connect with me somewhere else, like Facebook, Instagram, whatever, I'll have the rest of my social media pages, links, all the things in the show notes. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.